What does it take to be a leader? All leaders are called to be servants of the people that they served. In today's gospel, Jesus makes it clear, the greatest among you must be your servant. Anyone who exalts himself will be humbled. Anyone who humbles himself will be exalted. So a teacher, a leader, must be a humble servant to those that he is called to serve. But one of the greatest challenges of being in leadership is that it is very difficult to remain humble once you are a leader. The temptations are many for those of us who are in leadership, in prominent positions. Jesus always reminds his apostles that they are called to be humble leaders. The reason why I say it's difficult for a leader to be humble is simply because a leader is always taking the place of honor. He's always in front. He's always given special privilege. He is honored wherever he goes. He takes a place of importance, whether in celebrations, in sitting. So much so that sometimes a leader begins to think too much of himself, thinking that he's such a great person because everybody honors him. Everybody pays him respect, address him with honorific titles, Your Excellency, Your Grace, Your Eminence, Your Lordship, Your Honor. So much so that leaders, after some time, they begin to think that they are what people are calling them. They begin to assume an air of self-importance, that they are so much greater than others. This is the great pitfall of leaders. They begin to think that they are really different from the rest. They fail to realize that when people honor them, they're not honoring them as a person. First and foremost, they are honoring the office they hold. That is why today in the gospel, Jesus makes it clear. The scribes and the Pharisees occupy the chair of Moses. They are called to be respected. You must listen, therefore, to what they tell you, but do not be guided by what they do. Because the chair of Moses represents a symbol of authority. So titles, honors are given to those who hold position in life, to those who hold offices, because they have a role to play in society. And that office must be given due respect, because the office does not represent the person. The office represents the community. And so it is right that when the head of state goes to another country, head of state must be respected, because to give respect to the head of state is to give respect to the country. So too, like ambassadors. So it's very important, therefore, to realize this, that when we hold positions of leadership, whatever honor, whatever privileges that have been given to us, it is for the sake of the office, so that we can perform the office well and to help the people under our charge. And for this reason, for those of us who are in leadership, the Lord reminds us, because we are called to exercise that office, and if people address us with honorific titles, then all the more we need to live up to the titles that we are being addressed. If people call you Your Excellency, you must be excellent. You call you Your Eminence, then you must be eminently, so to speak, radiate in the world. If people call you Your Honor, it must be a man of justice, a man of your word. That's why the judge will say, Your Honor, a man who is true to his word. And for this reason, Jesus makes it clear. Leaders, therefore, are not above the laws. And that is why the Lord reprimands the scribes and the Pharisees. They do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy burdens and lay them on men's shoulder, but would they lift a finger to move them? So for leaders, we have to be very much aware that to exercise leadership is to walk the way. We cannot tell people to do something when we ourselves are not doing it. A leader leads by examples. That is why a leader is not just telling people what to do. A leader shows people what to do. Jesus walked the way. He doesn't only teach us the way, he shows the way. And so, to be in leadership, therefore, requires us that we should be people who fulfills the law more perfectly than those people we ask to obey. So that's why the challenges of a leader is great. We cannot have a double standard. But the real problem today, these loss of respect for leadership is because today leaders practice double standards. We can see this happening in our life. The rich, the powerful, those who cheated the state, cheated the people, when they are found guilty, they are given light penalty. Their sentence in prison is shortened because they belong to some people of political or corporate influence. This double standard. Whereas the poor man who steals maybe a few $1,000s, he ends up years in prison. And the man who steals millions of dollars ends up also a few years. Where is the sense of justice? How come a double standard when it comes to the question of penalizing those people who breaks the law? As if there are two sets of law. One law for the lowly people, one set of law for the rich and the powerful. This injustice really puts leadership and make it loses credibility. But not just in terms of individual leaders, in terms of the world as well. You look at what is happening in the world today. Powerful countries with economic, political, military powers, they do whatever they want. The rest of the world that are not so powerful, we are helpless. You look at the wars that are happening. What can the world do? Where is the respect for the rules of international order? One set of rules for those who are rich and powerful, those who are very powerful, economically, politically, one set of rules for those countries that are weak. This kind of double standard is happening in the world. That is the reason why today this international order is truly being put in question because of what is happening. That is why those people who are more powerful, all the more they must walk the laws that they proclaim. If they're the ones who want to insist on the rules of international order, then everybody must follow, especially those who are rich and powerful, because they are supposed to help to implement the rules of international order, not to break them and to make excuses for themselves. Consequently, in today's gospel, we are reminded, Jesus makes it clear, you must not allow yourself to be called rabbi. So you have only one master. All are brothers. No one must call you father, because you have only one father. No one must call you teachers. You have only one teacher, the Christ. What does it mean? It means that before God, all of us are equal. Before God, all of us are brothers and sisters. God doesn't care whether you are rich, you are powerful, whether you are president, whether you are just ordinary person. Before God, we are all the same. There is only one teacher, one master, one father. All those of us who are in positions of leadership, we are simply representing the father, representing the teacher, representing the master. We are called to deputize. We are not the master. And therefore, those of us who are in leadership have to ask ourselves, are we truly, therefore, representative of God, who is our master, our teacher, and our leader? Are we representing him? It's very important, because unless leaders are conscious that they are exercising a role on behalf of God, then they will begin to think too much highly of themselves. So what does a leader do? In today's first reading from Prophet Isaiah, a leader has been given position, talents, resources. To do what? To do good. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Help the oppressed. Be just to the orphan. Plead for the widow. When we are given leadership, when we are given talents, what are these talents for? It's not for ourselves. It is to help others. It is to protect the weak, protect the vulnerable. Not to use our talents to enrich ourselves. Not to use whatever resources we have in order to make use of the poorer people to enrich us. This is not the case of leadership. Whatever talents we have, whatever blessings we have, they are meant for us to assist those who belong to the have-not. That is why the Lord challenges the leaders, rulers of Sodom, Make yourself clean. Take your wrongdoing out of my sight. Because they were using powers to enrich themselves. Instead of liberating the oppressed, they were the ones oppressing the poor. And so the Lord said, come now, let us talk this over, says the Lord. In other words, let us reflect. Let us ask ourselves, what kind of leadership do we exercise? Do we exercise a leadership that truly manifests the lordship of God, the compassion of God? Do we exercise a leadership that is truly of humble service to those people? Do we exercise the service in such a way that we are grateful to God for the blessings He has given to us, for the talents He has given to us, so that we can serve those who require our assistance? And the Lord said, if you are willing to obey, you shall eat the good things of the earth. If you persist in rebellion, the sword shall eat you instead. This is a warning for those of us who don't use our leadership well, don't use our talents for the service of our people, but instead drawing attention to ourselves, then ultimately we will destroy ourselves, besides destroying all those under our charge.